I'm here with Steve Nicholson, Chief Football Writer of the Derby Telegraph, after the Rams' 1-1 draw against Brentford. Steve, what did you make of that?
Well, the term being used, certainly in the press conference, was they got out of jail. There's absolutely no doubt about that. To be honest, they were poor. There's no other word for it. They were poor. They know they were poor. On the ball, they gave the ball away far too much. Second half particularly, some of the passing was woeful. They barely kind of strung two passes together. They didn't cause Brentford any great problems, and Brentford will be kicking themselves. You know, they should have won. Had they won 4-1, maybe 5-1, no one would have batted an eyelid. They had chances second half. Gray up front could have had a hat-trick on another day. I'd say they really got out of jail. It's a strange game, football, isn't it? Because, you know, there's been games this season where Derby have only got a point. I'm thinking of Watford recently, where they could have had 3 points and didn't, maybe deserve to have 3 points and didn't get it. Today, they didn't deserve one, but actually got one, and that's the way it is. And, you know, I've been saying for the last few weeks, you get no extra points for artistic impression in this game, certainly not at this stage of the season. So I'm not going to slaughter them for picking up a point. They picked up 3 at Wigan and didn't play great. They scored 2 great goals. And today it's about points, and they've got another point on the board, which means Brentford are still behind them. That's the plus. There are very few other pluses on the day, but that is the plus, and that's important. You know, what's going to happen this season, we don't know. No one knows. It's such a tight race, but they're in there fighting. They're still in there fighting. Before the start of the season, I thought they'd finish top 6. It's looking that way. So if that's the case, and that was the aim, then they're on course to do that. There's plenty of frustration about, a lot of boos at the end of the game, which is unusual here. Fans, you know, they can have their say, absolutely. But there was talk also about, you know, lack of desire, lack of effort. It's not about that. That doesn't enter into it. It looks like that because confidence is low, there's plenty of tension involved, and that's what happens. But, you know, they battled on and they managed to get a point at the end, but no way did they deserve it.
Darren Bent popped up with the injury time equaliser, and that's his 10th goal of his loan spell at Derby. He's certainly come up with the goals.
Yeah, he's been terrific, Darren, and what I like about him, he's goal poacher. That's what he is. We saw him score at Rotherham earlier this season, a super goal from close range. And on this one, you know, Jeff Hendrick missed his shot, he's going wide, 92nd minute. And Darren wasn't on his heels, he was on his toes, and that's the sign of a goal scorer in the box. He was alert, he was gambling, and his gamble paid off. He followed the ball in, arrived at his feet, one touch, poked it into the net from no more than a few yards. And I think he's been terrific. A great loan signing. It's 10 goals now in 14 games. And I say, why they've got someone like him in the team, you've always got a chance.
We saw an appearance from the bench from Zach Whitbread, who's been out for a long time. That gives Derby another option defensively.
Yeah, it does. We've almost forgotten about Zach. You know, I think his previous appearance was against Wigan at the end of October. So he came on at centre-back. Derby's defence was restructured at Wigan, and it kept a clean sheet, although we know Wigan are struggling. So they went into today's game with the same back four, which is understandable. Didn't really work today. Craig Forsyth looked uncomfortable on the left side of centre-backs. Alvin Tozer was a bit shaky at times. The delivery from the wide areas, Stephen Warnock and Richard Keogh, wasn't great. So actually another option in Zach Whitbread is there for head coach to look at, and he came on, he was solid, he won his headers, and he's an experienced campaigner, and you may well need that at this stage of the season.